Welcome to the Team Teach podcast. I'm Clare, and in each episode you'll find me talking with an expert guest to learn more about behaviour. We squeeze a lot into each episode. You'll listen to the latest thinking in behaviour, continue your professional development with our book recommendation, and then I'll send you away with 3 practical tips you can use in your setting. I'm joined today by Jack Cook. Jack is an expert by experience within the realms of mental health. He has helped a number of families understand what they or their child may be going through. Jack runs a bespoke service supporting those with autism, mental health, behaviours that may challenge and learning disabilities. Jack is also a volunteer for Samaritans. And today, Jack and I are talking about supporting your staff in residential care. Enjoy the episode. Hi, Jack. How are you?
Hello, I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm really well. It's lovely to see you, Jack. We are doing a topic which I think many listeners will find absolutely fascinating. We are talking about supporting individuals with complex needs in residential and community care. I always have really long titles for the podcast, not very catchy, but it does explain what we're talking about. If you could just start us off, Jack, by telling the listener a little bit about yourself, that would be great.
Sure. So I'm Jack, I'm 23, and I own a care company that specialises with children and adults of all ages with autism, learning disabilities, behaviours that challenge, and mental health. I think I've covered all of them.
There's a lot, yeah.
And we have 2 branches in both Gloucestershire and Herefordshire, and looking to expand. So that's what I do.
Amazing. And the listener did hear correctly that you're 23. I like to add on some extra numbers because I'm like, you do all that and you're 23, Jack, but that is absolutely correct, right?
Yes, and I set up when I was 20.
So all that support and all that setup is there, and you're expanding, which is really exciting. But I thought we'd start with our reflective question about what you wish you'd known then that you know now about what we're talking about today.
For me, I think it would be challenge. Don't ever be afraid to challenge.
Can you tell me a bit more about that?
So I think when we first started, I'm a BSL signer, so I want to sign the word, but I can't say it. I was more naive and just kind of said yes sir, no sir. Whereas now I'm not afraid to kind of say, actually, I don't think that's right. I think we should do it this way, and this is the reasons why. Yeah, so never accept something that doesn't align with your own core values.
And in the sense of maybe when you first started out running your homes and advocating for the individuals that you support, where you might challenge other professionals or other services in that respect?
Yeah, absolutely. So if I think someone requires more intensive support, it's fighting commissioners for that cost, or it could be that actually going, I don't think they've been correctly diagnosed, fighting psychiatrists sometimes, because a psychiatrist might only see them once a month for an hour, and I might be seeing them 24/7. And so not being afraid to actually go, sorry, I don't think that's right. I think we should do this, or can we look at this? But I think when we first started out, I was very much just trying to kind of people please.
Yeah. And I can totally understand that, because it's pretty overwhelming dealing with so many other professionals, isn't it? Who, know best. And I'm doing, it's really bad on a podcast doing like commas with know best. But I suppose for me as a practitioner, it's being that advocate and asking those questions, which may not change the end result. But if we don't ask those questions and we're not curious about how the answers come, we can't evoke change for the individual anyway.
Yeah, if a healthy challenge, now I realise sometimes people can take it badly and negatively. But it's being able to follow through that as to the reasons why, and that's something that I wish I knew then, because if I follow through, I think outcomes may have been different in my approaches.
Yeah, healthy challenge. We're getting loads of kind of ways of saying like, yeah, let's challenge, let's ask, let's advocate. I know that's advocate spots like for the dog. Advocate, I mean, don't I? Like the flea treatment, that's not right. But yeah, advocating for the individuals that you support. And I guess I'm thinking about, I know we've obviously, not obviously, the listener doesn't know that, but we've met a few times and worked together because Jack is also a team teach tutor, the same as me. But when we've met, what comes across from you is the care that you have for the individuals in your homes. And that's the center point of everything that you seem to do. And I'm wondering, around, you probably aren't on the shop floor as much as you used to be in your role, but I'm wondering how you support your staff to be able to look after the individuals in your homes and in the community as well, because I know that's something that you're really passionate about.
No, yeah, absolutely. So I would consider myself as an expert by experience. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so whenever I guide or lead a team, it's through experience as to why I'm doing it the way that I'm doing it. And I make sure that I share that knowledge and methods with my staffing teams. So this is why I'm doing this. This is the outcome that I want.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, yeah, always explaining why. So within our service, I recognise that particularly those who work in care have often had a
Mm-hmm.
background of care either themselves or through family members.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think statistics show that when we recruit somebody who is brand new to care, never worked in care, they're the ones that will most likely stay with us for a lot longer and will retain them staff a lot longer
Well, that's
compared to those,
interesting.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
compared to those who are worked in care and joining us. So,
Mm-hmm.
so with that in mind, I recognise that when you're joining care and you're working with somebody with ongoing uh, their own severity of mental health issues that they're living with on a daily basis,
Mm-hmm.
that can have a toll on any one of us, particularly those who haven't necessarily maybe built up that resilience as I may have. So I provide a clinical psychologist. I know she might mind me saying, but Dr. Amy Harrison, she works with all of my staff. If they want it, they don't have to. And she provides therapy, counseling services, whatever. And it doesn't have to be about work. It could be about,
Mm-hmm.
actually, I really want to explore something that has been sort of brought up over the years about childhood or whatever it may be, that they can explore and have that kind of safe space. We're not just there for our young people and those that we support, we're also there for our staff. And we also provide a counsellor as well. All of our staff have access to a private GP, and a number of sort of like discounts online, because I think our staff well-being, we couldn't provide a service if our staff wasn't there, and our staff
Mm-hmm.
won't be there if their well-being is poor.
And I mean, you're probably going to have loads of people now applying to your service with that level of support, which obviously different services will have different levels of support and different impetuses on well-being. But that sounds really holistic. And I know that when we have talked, when we've worked together, that's something that you hold on to really tight, that you want your staff not to feel looked after, but to be looked after in their roles. And as you said, that if you're looking after your staff team, then essentially you're looking after the individuals that you support. I'm also thinking about the range and complexity. I can't say it, complexity. That's it. Oh, I've got all my words in a twist today. But the complex needs of the individuals in your care services. I'm just wondering around training that you provide for staff, because it's a real I'm not going to say eclectic mix, but it's a mix, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. So our youngest at the moment is 6, and our oldest is 30. For those that we
Mhm.
support, so a complete different range and laws that protect them
Yeah.
differently. So and we actually cover a lot of ours within our Team Teach course, and so we
Mm-hmm.
deliver a minimum of 2 days. Um, And then for any staff, before they start with us, they have to complete, I think off the top of my head, it's like 50 online courses,
Yeah.
all CPD accredited. So, and that covers sort of children, adults, and the variety and difference in between. So it's not just, it's recognizing autism in young adults compared to autism in adults. So they have to do double the courses as to what they might need to do with another care company. But so when a member of staff starts, they also have they have a weekly check-in, and that is for the first 6 weeks of their employment, and that is so that we can check in on their well-being. Actually, anything that we may learn, so anything that you've picked up on that we may not have, or extra support that can be offered as early on as possible. And then we only, compared to most companies, we only have a 3-month probation period. And that comes down to well-being. I've tried to make it as short as possible that staff feel secure in their job without having to look at another job going, I don't know whether I'm being good enough. I don't know whether I've done this correctly. So I've tried to make it as short as possible so that at 3 months you can go, I feel secure now. So our training covers a wide variety.
If you work with parents and carers, our family engagement training equips you with the skills, knowledge and understanding to build positive relationships. Help your families understand and support their child's behaviour, recognise the challenges and opportunities in your organisation, and receive an exclusive range of resources you can use to practically support your families. Take a look at this exciting training option on the Team Teach website. But I'm wondering how you kind of look after staff in those moments when you might have physical behaviours, you might have really quite difficult scenarios happening. I'm just wondering your thoughts around that.
So, yeah, absolutely. I think all staff, it's really, really imperative so that they feel as though we all carry a radio whenever we're on shift. So it's imperative that they feel as though nobody should be having to radio, Jack, can you come here, please? It should be, can I have some support here? And no matter who turns up, you know that you've got that support. And then for me as well, particularly as a trainer, I kind of like to preach what I teach. I think that's the right saying. And everyone often thinks, yeah, Jack will be the best to deal with this. Actually, I might not be the right face, but I might be able to advise from afar. Have you tried this? Have you tried this? And but also accepting that even though I'm a CEO and the registered manager, accepting that other people might say, oh, Jack, have you tried this? And I go, oh, no, I haven't. I didn't think of it that way. And rather than going in with yeah, no worries, the radio call comes in, I'm going to come in and take over, very much, okay, how can I support you to continue? Rather than me take over, unless you need that 5 minutes for whatever reason. And then our debrief strategy is the way that I kind of work my debrief is for the first 4 minutes, you are able to say and do and rant however you may wish. This will not be recorded. The reason why I do that is because I would much rather you do it in a safe space rather than you go home and go, she hit me in the face today, she hated me, and I don't want to work with her anymore. And you tell your partner who doesn't understand the caring nature that we work in. But actually, I'd much rather you give that to me so that I know as to how I can support you next time. And then the next 6 minutes the next 6 minutes is then restorative. So what can we do next time? How can we improve? What went wrong? And being able to look at all of that. And that bit is recorded on a piece of paper. The first 4 minutes is not recorded, doesn't go anywhere, unless there's a safeguarding concern, of course. But yeah, and I think that's really, really, I know staff have fed back that they find that really, really almost reassuring that they're human too.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's empowering as well, where you're creating a safe space where staff can be human and feel empowered to be human and not robotic. Because I think I've run a lot of debriefs, which can quite, not from me, where I've been part of debriefs, which I think if you look at them objectively can look like they're blaming staff, and staff actually can't be real in their responses. I think I call it, when I do training, like a hot debrief is the 4 minutes that you've talked about, and then the cold debrief is the kind of the bit afterwards. But I think for staff well-being, that can only be a great thing, right?
And yeah, staff feed that back. I think, yeah, 100% that they feel as though when they go home, and by our sort of like front door, so that within all of our services, there's a little note that you can put in anonymously, not anonymously, like sort of, how was your day? You can just say, do you know what, I've had a really, really rubbish day, hated my shift, don't want to come back, but I'll still be back tomorrow, whatever it may be. And this, I just read probably once a month, and I don't see it as a negative. I see it as a this is them doing their own hot debrief. It might not be by me saying, "Are you okay?" Yeah, I'm fine. Writing it down and doing it on your own is actually sometimes it's being able to adapt our strategies to be able to like cater for all of our staff needs. Some may choose to talk to me, some may not. And I particularly use the approach. I went on a recent training course around mental well-being, and I particularly now use the approach. It's so effective. Asking 3 times, "Are you okay?" So saying, "Are you okay?" Well, usually our human response is, "Yeah, no, I'm fine. Are you?" And then we say, "Yeah, but are you really okay?" Yeah, I'm fine. Why wouldn't I be? No, I'm just checking. Something doesn't seem right. Are you okay? And that's when we'll often get the core, rawest person. And it works with both our service users and our staff, and I've evidenced it. Yeah.
You've seen it in practice, because I'm literally thinking that the main crux really of what you're instilling in your staff is actually what we instill in the individuals that we support, and actually giving staff a voice, and not just a voice that's heard, respected, and acted upon. When you look at kind of data and evidence around what helps behaviour, particularly in schools, I'm thinking of, the thing that comes out of the evidence from the Education Endowment Fund is actually giving children, young people, a sense of belonging and a voice is a really great strategy to help behaviour. But it's really interesting hearing it from a caring perspective, and thinking about how just applying those set of values, and now I sound like a robot kind of team teach tutor, don't you? Going back to values, Jack, you love it. but it really is that sense of belonging and that voice being listened to is, powerful for your staff team, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think a lot of the time we see a lot of staff that have come from other care companies and they go, "I never had this." And it can be a really, really hard way for them, more so, really, really hard to let them adapt as to, "Oh, I should be opening up more. Why don't I do that?" You almost, I think some staff almost feel as though that they've become this robot. They go to work, do their job, go home. But actually, we will all burn out. And then looking back, and our self-reflective as to you almost feel no emotion. And so it's reminding staff, no, you do have emotion. It's okay to feel emotion. Because otherwise, if our staff are robots, then our young people become robots and they won't speak to us because our staff aren't looked after. Yeah.
It definitely works both ways. I just had a quick glance at my watch and I was like, oh, we need to start moving on to top tips, so we stick to time. But yeah, can you give us some tips, Jack, around what we've discussed?
Supporting staff, tip number 1 would have to be just listen. Try not to advise, just listen. There's a huge difference. Yeah, that would be my tip number 1. Tip number 2 would be overtrain yourself. Never just accept that what you know isn't enough. I only found out this year about the 3 "Are you okays?" And I wouldn't have known that if I didn't do that training. And tip number 3 would be if a staff member doesn't look okay, they probably aren't feeling it. Don't be afraid to ask.
So have that like courage, I suppose, to check on everyone, to look after everyone in your team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all often say, "Are you okay?" in a passing corridor, but actually going, "Something doesn't seem right. Can I just have a quick chat?" That quick 5-minute chat could change how somebody's feeling.
And I think I really like it that we've come full circle. So our topic was supporting individuals with complex needs in residential and community care. No one's going to go for that title, it's so long. But actually what we've discussed is that really supporting our individuals is actually about supporting our staff teams to enable that true care. And I think a lot of what's come out, which has been really interesting from my perspective, is about that voice that you provide for your staff, but also that listening ear that you also provide as well. So it's been, a real honour to hear what you're doing, Jack. And I hope we can catch up soon.
No, absolutely. And tomorrow, or retrospectively, I'm not sure when this will be posted, but tomorrow we are up for an award for the UK's best employer to work for, and we're up against people like Eon, Manchester Police. So fingers crossed.
Oh, amazing. Well, we'll definitely go out by the time that's all announced. But yeah, fingers crossed, and I hope that goes well for you.
No,
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you so much.
You've been listening to the Team Teach podcast. It's been great to have you here with us as we discuss behaviour, communication, and the ways we can best support those in our care. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.